David had been eagerly awaiting the arrival of his little brother for months. The thought of having someone to share his toys, his adventures, and his dreams with filled him with excitement. He would spend hours talking to his mom's belly, imagining the games they would play, the stories they would tell. He already had names picked out for their toy dinosaurs, and he dreamed up wild adventures they would embark on together. One afternoon, while helping his mom, Rachel, get the nursery ready, David asked, "Do you think he'll like dinosaurs?" Rachel smiled as she folded a tiny onesie. "I think he'll love anything you show him. You're going to be the best. Big brother in the world." David jumped with excitement. To him, everything was perfect. His dad, Ralph, was busy with work, but he always made sure to kiss Rachel's belly before heading out and talk to the baby. David would press his ear to her belly, waiting for a kick or movement, and when it came, he'd shout, "He kicked! He's ready to come out." Life felt full of hope, full of promise, but one day, everything changed. It was a regular morning. Ralph had rushed out for work, giving Rachel a quick kiss goodbye and reminding David to look after his mom. A few hours later, David was in his room, happily playing with his dinosaurs, when a loud thud came from the kitchen. Something didn't feel right. "Mom?" he called. No answer. David ran to the kitchen, his heart pounding, and found Rachel collapsed on the floor, pale and unresponsive. Panic surged through him, but he remembered what to do. He grabbed her phone, dialed emergency services with trembling hands, and said the words that terrified him most, "Please hurry. My mom's pregnant and she fell. She's not okay." David refused to leave her side when the paramedics arrived. "I have to come," he said, his voice shaky but determined. "I promised I'd protect them." They allowed him to ride along, and he held Rachel's hand the whole way to the hospital. At the hospital, doctors rushed Rachel into surgery, and David tried to follow, but the doors slammed shut. "Please," he begged, "let me stay with her. I promised I'd be there." But the cold, sterile doors closed behind him, leaving him helpless in the waiting room. Soon after, Ralph arrived, pale and breathless. He found David sobbing uncontrollably. "She's in surgery," David cried. "They won't let me in. What if something happens to her? What if I lost them both?" Ralph pulled him into a tight hug. "She's strong, son, and so are you. Everything will be okay." But nothing could prepare them for the words that followed. Dr. Erica approached with a grave expression, and David's heart dropped. She explained that Rachel had suffered a rare and life-threatening complication, a placental abruption. The bleeding was severe, and the position of the baby made delivery even riskier. Then she said the words that shattered everything. "We can't save both," Dr. Erica said softly. "There's not enough time. You'll have to choose, your wife or your baby." Ralph felt the weight of those words crush him. How could he choose between the love of his life and his unborn child? He looked toward the surgery room, his heart breaking. "I can't lose Rachel," he whispered. "Please, save her." And that was it. Rachel survived the surgery, but the baby didn't make it. Her womb was empty. Hours later, Rachel woke up, groggy and confused, and Ralph was by her side. When she learned what had happened, her tears flowed freely. "I know," she whispered, her voice heavy with sorrow. "I understand. You did what you had to do." David burst into the room. "Mom, you're awake!" He ran to her, wrapping his arms around her as she pulled him close. But then, a question that pierced the silence. "Where's my brother? Can I see him now?" The room went still. Rachel's voice trembled. "Sweetheart, your little brother went to heaven." David froze, his eyes wide. "That's not true," he whispered. "I promised I'd protect him. I have to see him. I have to." The doctors hesitated, but Rachel insisted. She knew David needed closure, needed to keep his promise. Even Ruby, Rachel's sister, objected, saying, "He's just a child. Don't let him remember his brother like this." But Rachel knew David had to see for himself. Wrapped in white, they brought the baby in. Rachel wept as she held her lifeless child, while Ralph stood behind her, silent and broken. Then, with a trembling voice, David stepped forward. "Can I hold him?" he asked. Rachel nodded slowly, tears filling her eyes. They placed the baby in David's arms. Gently, David cradled his little brother, his cheek resting on the soft blanket. "I'm here," he whispered through his own tears. "I've got you. I promised I'd protect you. You can come back now." And in that moment it happened. A soft sound, barely a whisper at first, and then a cry. Everyone froze. The baby moved. His tiny chest rose and fell, and a cry broke through the silence. Dr. Erica rushed in, shocked, checking his vitals. "This is impossible," she gasped. "He had no heartbeat, no signs of life." David looked up at her, his eyes wide with wonder. "I told you I'd save him." Rachel wept uncontrollably as she held her baby. Ralph dropped to his knees, and Ruby covered her mouth in disbelief. And in that moment, in that hospital room, a miracle happened. They named him Noah. From that day forward, David and Noah were inseparable. Two brothers, one promise and one life brought back, not through medicine but through the pure, unyielding power of a brother's love. Was it fate, a miracle, or the power of a brother's love? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories. Sometimes love really does bring the dead back to life.